Hey everyone, my name is Mikey, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how you can play Silent Hills P.T. on PC. P.T. is a very long sought after game. Nowadays it's very hard to come by on a console. Unless you were able to purchase it back then, there is actually no way that you can get it nowadays. But with the help of the Shad PS4 emulator on PC, we can go ahead and emulate a backup copy of the game and play it that way. Now there is some bugs and issues with this game, such as texture and lighting artifacts, but I can confirm that I was able to play the entire game from start to finish, and these issues didn't really matter too much to me. Now there's some things that I cannot ideally show in this video, so for any of those things there will be a little search box in the description. Just go ahead and copy and paste that, and then go ahead and search that up, and you should be able to find what you're looking for. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is come to the Shad PS4 website. We're going to come to the top here where it says downloads, and then once we make sure we are selected on version 0.15 or whatever the latest version is, you want to go ahead and click the download button for the client down here. You can go ahead and save that file wherever, and then we're just going to do the same thing up here for the Qt launcher file. Once that's done, the next link we're going to go to is the GitHub for Shad PS4. Once you're on this page, on the side here where it says releases, we'll just click on this. And then in the search box, we're going to type 0.7.0. We can go ahead and click search. And if you just scroll down a little bit here till you see Shad PS4 7, we can go ahead and click this little drop down on assets. And then we're going to need these two files right here, the Qt and the SDL file. I'm using Windows, so I'll make sure I go ahead and download the Windows versions. Once you have all of these files downloaded, the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is find the Qt 0.7.0. We can go ahead and right click, and then whatever extracting software you have, just go ahead and extract that to a new folder. We'll do the same for the SDL 0.7.0. And then the first thing we'll go ahead and do is open up the Qt 0.7. We're going to go ahead and launch the Shad PS4 here, and it's going to ask you to make a directory to install your games. So I'll go ahead and click browse, and then wherever you're going to save your PS4 games, just go ahead and make a folder there. I'll click select folder, and then we can click OK. And then as you can see now, we have Shad PS4 loaded up. Now the next thing we're going to need is a PKG file for Silent Hill PT itself. Like I said at the start of the video, there's some things that I cannot reasonably show, but I do have a little search box of what you can search up, and it should bring you to what you're looking for right away. Once you have this file and you confirmed it's a PKG file, we can go ahead and come back to Shad PS4. We're going to come to the top here where it says file, and we're going to click on install packages, and then you want to go ahead and find wherever you have this file saved, and then we're just going to click open. You can delete the package file on install, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave that blank, and then we'll just click OK. We're going to let this thing load for a bit. It's just extracting the PKG file into an actual game folder, and then once that's done, we can go ahead and switch our version over to a latest version of Shad PS4. Okay, so we can see game successfully installed now. We're going to go ahead and click OK, and as you can see now, we should have PT shown right here. Now once Shad PS4 is closed, we're going to come back to the folder with our files that we saved before, and we're going to find the Qt launcher that we downloaded for the newer version. We're going to go ahead and click extract to a new folder. The easiest way to tell the difference between these two is 0.70 is going to be our old one, and then Qt launcher here is going to be our new one. You can go ahead and open this folder up, and then just double click the Qt launcher. If it says this here, the Shad PS4 config has been updated, just go ahead and click update. And as you can see now, we are in the latest version and we do have our game here. The reason why we had to use the older version first is because, as you can see in newer versions of Shad PS4, they have removed the install PKG function, but you can get around it by just installing the older version. So if for any reason you wanted to install another game this way, go ahead and just launch the older version we installed before, install the PKG file for the game, and then when you come back to the new version of Shad PS4, your game should show up here like normal. With all that out of the way though, we're going to come to the top right here where it says version manager. We're just going to click OK, and then we're going to find add custom. Now we're going to go ahead and extract the 0.15 version of Shad PS4, and then we can come back over here and we want to just make sure we select that exe. I'm going to go ahead and just title this 15 because it's version 15. I'll click on OK. And as you can see now at the top, we are selected onto version 15. Now the game is technically ready to go out the box now, but there is a few things that we do need to fix if we want this game to look good. So the first thing we can go ahead and do is just right click. We're going to click on open folder and then open game folder. This should take us to wherever it made that new folder for our Silent Hill PT installation. And you should see this texture.qar file here. You want to go ahead and just right click on this, and we're going to go to rename, and then you want to just rename this to something like texture old. The reason we're doing this is because this texture file is broken itself, so by changing that name to texture old, the game's just going to completely ignore this file, and we still have the file there for any reason if we need it in the future. All you would have to do is just go ahead, remove the old from the name, and then that file would work like regular. Now the next thing we're going to need is in the description there's a link to this PT Shad PS4 texture fix. This is by Whispers Gone. you want to just come to this front title page here, and we're going to scroll down till we see the chunk 1 override, and this is version 2.2.1.1, the final version. You want to go ahead and click on this, and then we'll just scroll down and click on download now. Once this file has been downloaded, we can go ahead and just right click it. We're going to extract this to a new folder. So inside of this folder, you should have a file called chunk1.psarc. We're going to go ahead and just copy this file, and then we can go back to our Silent Hill PT installation file, and we're just going to go ahead and click paste. If it asks you to replace this file, just click yes. And then now we can go ahead and fix our final settings inside of Shad PS4. So we're going to go ahead and right click on our game. We're going to click on game specific settings and then create game specific settings. First thing we'll do is come over to graphics. Make sure you just select your graphics card if you do have one here. Then I'm going to change mine to full screen personally. I'm going to turn off VSync, so we'll turn that to immediate. And then down here in the window size, just go ahead and set this to whatever resolution you plan on playing in. I'm going to do 1080, so I'll do 1920 by 1080p. And then make sure you enable FSR. Then we're going to come over to debug. We're going to enable shader dumping. So now we're going to go ahead and right click on PT. We're going to go to game specific settings, and then we're going to go to configure game specific settings. Under the mic device, just make sure you go ahead and select your microphone. There is a part in this game where it will need the microphone, but if your microphone does not work when you get to that part, there is a workaround for it. Just go ahead and search that up. Then we'll come over to graphics, and then just go ahead and copy all the settings I have here. Under window size, however, though, go ahead and change this to whatever resolution you plan on playing in. I'm playing in 1080, so I'm going to do 1920 by 1080. Then under debug, we're going to go ahead and make sure we enable shader dumping. And then over in experimental, we're going to enable read back linear images, and then enable shader cache and compress the shader cache files into a zip file. Then we can go ahead and click apply and then click save. So we're going to go ahead and just double click on PT. So one thing you want to make sure you don't do when you're loading up PT for the first time, do not turn it into full screen mode. Once you see those three little dots in the bottom right of the screen, that's how you know the game is up and running and loading. And then we can go ahead and then just press F11 on the keyboard and go into full screen mode. And as you can see now, the game is starting up. Everything should be running fine and running okay. One thing to bear in mind playing this game on PC is that because we're emulating it, there is going to be a few texture issues and other graphics issues that we just cannot fix. I was able to play though from start to finish, and all the puzzles worked for me. All the main effects that are supposed to appear on screen worked for me. But as you can see with things like this, such as the lighting, some of this stuff is just going to be pretty buggy. As of right now, since Shad PS4 is a decently new emulator, these things haven't been quite fixed for PT. But if we go ahead and just walk through here, as you can see, everything is working. I can look around. We've got the radio over here, and then we can go back through this door and then continue the loop. What I would recommend to do is search online and search for different settings and different setups and try and find one that you like. I know that some people use a setup for this game where it does fix these lighting issues, but then one problem is that you have a bunch of textures being completely black, like this dresser over here and the paintings on the wall. So go ahead and just mess around with different configurations until you find one that looks the best for you. If you are having this issue though of the lights being extremely bright like I am, just go ahead and turn your brightness down a bit, and this does kind of help fix it a little bit. As you can see, it's a little easier to see in these hot spots. It's still pretty bright, but it's really the best that we can do on PC. Anyways guys, that's pretty much going to be it for this entire video. If there's another game you would like to see me show how to set up and play on this channel, just go ahead and drop it in the comments below and I'll make sure to take a look at it. If there's any more questions as well that you have about the setup, also leave those in the description and I'll try to answer as many as I can. That's going to be it for today's video though. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.